channel. So I don't have any excuse as to why I haven't been vlogging. I just haven't. Well, I do have a few excuses. I had surgery and I moved. So I'm in a new apartment. So those are excuses, right? Anyhow, anyway, as you can see from the title, I'll be giving some tips on solo traveling. Yay! So I've done solo traveling a few times, and most recent was over the Christmas. I went to the and I don't know, so many people are saying like, Donette, you travel by yourself. Why do you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Isn't it scary? No, it's actually really, really fun. So like many people are saying, they think that people travel solo because they're lonely or they don't have friends and blah, 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 all those crazy things. No. You travel solo because maybe the destination that you want to go to, your friends have already been there. But that doesn't mean that because they have gone there already, you don't get to go because they're not available to go with you because they're going somewhere else. Or maybe your friends just aren't able to travel and you have time off. Does that mean that, hey, I'm going to stay home because none of my friends are available? No. Go on. Go on. So, anyhow, I'm going to give you some tips that I use, on my planning my solo trips and on my actual trip. So, yeah. Okay. So the first tip, which is like crazy, but hey, I still have to give it anyway. The first tip is research where you want to go. Research where you want to go, and if there are things in that area or place that you actually want to do. Yeah, that sounds silly. Like you're thinking like, if I say I'm going to Mexico, then I want to go to Mexico. Yeah, but maybe Mexico is not really for you because, okay, so me and my best friend, right? We're alike in some things, but some things we are so different. For example, she wants to go on vacation and lounge. I'm not a lounger. I want to lounge for one day to rest. But outside of that, I'm like going, doing. That's me when I go on vacations. I like to do stuff and, but she's not like that. And when you discover where you want to go, maybe the country that you've heard about doesn't have those activities. So maybe that's not where you want to go. Okay, fine. So now you've decided where it is that you want to go. Guys, this is really, 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 really important. Make a list of the things you want to do. No, I don't advise people to make itinerary. I don't do that. I have never done that. What I do is I make a list of the things I want to do. But I'm spontaneous because one day I may say, oh, tomorrow I'm going to do this. But then I meet somebody and they suggest something else, which sounds way more exciting. So have a list, but also be spontaneous with the list. Don't do like a strict itinerary. That's like super boring and tiring. You don't want to do that because maybe one day you'll wake up and you feel really tired and you don't want to do anything. That happens too, So, yeah. So, now that you know what you want to do, so you know the country or city or whatever that you want to go, and you have a list of the things you want to do there. Now, this is really important. I know people who will say, oh, Donette, I want to visit Japan. I want to do this and I want to do this. Those two things are so far apart. You're like, honey, this is there and this is here. Oh, really? Yeah. So, when you make the list of the things you want to do, you may have to shorten that list because the area you're going to be in or the few days that you have, you can only stay, for example, on one island. You can't do island hopping, so you can only do one or two islands. So you will find the things that you want to do on that island and shorten your list, right? Yes, cut some things off that are like way far apart. Okay, so where you want to go, what you want to do, you know the exact area that you want to stay in, right? So it's like a circle. Say for example, it's a circle. This is here, there. You want an accommodation that's like in the center, that it's easy for you to get to all the places. Accommodations are very important when it comes to traveling, especially if you're traveling solo. When you're traveling with a group, if you're taking a taxi, then of course y'all split the cost, so it's way cheaper. But if you're traveling by yourself and you have to take that long taxi ride, it's gonna cost you a penny. And you don't wanna be spending the money on transportation. You wanna spend the money on having some great experiences, right? Yeah. So, when you found the accommodation, this is really, really important. Now it goes back to the transportation. How do you get to these places that you want to go from this place? You can research that, and I'll tell you this about your accommodation. Guys, don't be scared when you, whether you're on Airbnb, booking.com, whatever, whichever site you use to make your bookings. It's really important that you look at the comments, read the comments, and if you need clarification on anything, people are always open. So you can send messages to them to ask further questions, whatever it is that you need to know. You're traveling by yourself, so you want to be as careful and detailed as possible because you don't have your friends to rely on. When I travel with my friends, I may know about this and then my friends may know about that area. So when we all get together, it's easier. But when you're by yourself, you have to know everything by yourself, right? So research, accommodation, make it centralized so that you don't spend hours, traveling to places, because then you're wasting valuable vacation time. And we can't do that now, can we? Right? So make sure your accommodation is centralized and make sure it's easy, as easy as possible. Sometimes it's not easy because sometimes maybe 5 of the things are in this one area, but that one other thing is like 4 hours away. Like what I had to experience in the Philippines. Many of the things I wanted to do were, kind of in close proximity, but I wanted to swim with sharks and I wanted to swim with sardines, and I wanted to go turtle watching. 4 hours from my hotel. 4 freaking hours. So I had to wake up at 4 in the morning. And I had a driver who took me there, and then I spent hours doing all my activities. And then the driver brought me back, and I never got back to my hotel until like 10, 11 in the night. But that was just the one day, that one activity that was far apart. Everything else was close enough. So as much as you can make it close, do that. What else? So now that you know where you want to go, what you want to do, where you're staying, and how you're going to be getting to the different places. This also is really, really important. If you're like me and you're cheap, I'm cheap, especially when it comes to spend. I'm not cheap on spending money on my experiences, but some things I'm really cheap on. For example, when I travel, I want to do what the locals do. Not everything, but most of it. But one of those things is their mode of transportation. Their mode of transportation is usually really, really, really cheap. We as tourists always go the most expensive route, and at the same time we're exploited if you're not smart, if you don't know how to bargain. Like, I'm good at those things, so I don't worry. Like, people say, oh, when you go to that country, you have to know how to bargain for prices and whatever. I don't worry about that. But one other thing I always like to do when I travel, because I don't like to spend money on certain things, like when I went to the Philippines, most people would take taxi. In America, you use Uber, but in the Philippines, they use what is called a Grab. It's like the same thing. Grab can be really freaking expensive, but me, no, I'm all on the jeepney, where you spend, instead of spending 250 or 300 to 400 peso, I spend 20 peso to get on this open air truck packed with people. You don't get that when you have this detailed itinerary and these plans, and you go on your Grab. You don't get those things when you travel local and do what the locals do. Like, it makes the trip, it makes the experience way better. What else? Oh, let's talk a little bit about the experiences. Remember, I did say you want to make a list of the things you want to do, but I would advise you, as a solo traveler, be open. I mean, me, when I travel, I meet so many people. Whether it's girls traveling by themselves, I meet like couples, I meet so older women who will tell you that I'm 60 and I had a divorce, I got divorced, and I just decided that I'm just going to travel the world. My kids are old, and I'm like, these stories, let me tell you something, they put your mind in that space. Those things, like, you don't get those things when you travel with a group. You don't get those a lot. Solo traveling is what really opens your mind to meeting these quality people, which is beyond amazing, right? So I was saying that when you book your tours, we can be tempted to go online and just book this tour and I'm by myself, and it's fun. It can be fun, but at the same time, when you go on that tour, be open. I've booked individual tour, and then when I go on the tour, I meet so many other people, and we're like friends and planning trips together now. Can you imagine? And also, when you're booking your tours, book some group tours. Some of the websites that you may book tours on, some of them are individual tours, but some of them are group tours. If you can join a group tour, join a group tour. So you may feel scared about traveling solo, but you have to have this open mind in order to enjoy the trip. Be open, because guess what? There are other people who are... There's so many people traveling solo. I don't understand why so many people are surprised that I do it. But it's like a normal thing. It's so normal. It's not even funny. Like, it's not even something I have to think about because it's so normal. So be open. Do group things. If you want to have those days when you just want to do things by yourself, that's fine too. But then be open to those days when you just want to hang around people and just talk to people and learn about people's experience. Like, nothing beats sitting with people and learning their stories. Let me tell you, guys, you're limited to just your friends and the people you see every day. But when you travel solo, you meet people from different culture, different race, and you learn their stories, and you're like, wow, nothing, and I can tell you nothing, absolutely nothing beats that. For me, it's like the best part of my trips is meeting the people and learning their stories. Like, it just gives you another perspective on life. And what else? Is there anything else I want to tell you? I mean, if you guys are solo traveler and you have any other pointers, you can just leave them down below for others to, grab those. But yeah, guys, happy solo traveling. Research. Oh, one thing. When I travel in my group, I'm okay just having Wi-Fi at my hotel. But when I travel solo, I always get my Wi-Fi from the airport. So you get a Wi-Fi modem, or you get a chip, or however it's done. Make sure you have access to the outside world at all times. Try to do that. That gives you a little bit more peace of mind. When you're going to places, you may not see anybody who you can ask for directions or ask questions about certain things, but if you have your phone, you can do your own research. So try to have internet access at all times. It's pretty cheap at airports to get Wi-Fi or to buy a SIM card. But yeah, try to have access to the world, to the outside world, or to your peeps at all times. That's so also. And when I travel, I also get travel insurance. You can find them cheap. You can just add it to your flight. It's way better when you do that. When you just add it to your flight, it's like an extra $20 or $25. Yeah, so if I travel solo, I get travel insurance. If you don't book it the same time you book in the flight and you go back, you can't book it again. You have to go find one of those travel companies, those travel insurance companies, which are way more expensive. So I would advise you to book it when you're booking your flight. Pay the extra 15 or 20 US and have travel insurance. You never need insurance until you need it. And you're by yourself in some country, you don't want that to happen to you. So yeah, guys, just research and be open, be friendly. Don't go to people's country and be all scornful. And no, you're not going to open yourself to not be safe or to just do whatever. But don't be closed off. Like, you may not have a big bubbly personality like me, but think about it. You're a quiet person. You may meet somebody like me because somebody like me is probably going to talk to you. Yes. So anyway, guys, I hope these tips can help you and relax your mind to know that if you want to travel solo, go ahead. Don't allow anything to stop you from seeing the world. The world is huge. Such a cliche. The world is huge and there's so many things to see, so many things to learn, and so many people's stories to hear, right? So happy solo travel, guys. Mwah. Bye. Lots of love, light, and just everything beautiful that life and the universe has to offer. Bye, guys.